Congress.
So have you heard about this? Brand new polling shows what the American people think of the media's coverage of the president. Hint, it's not great. And a group of House Democrats are calling for President Trump's impeachment today. Party leaders, though, say wait, they do not want to go down that road, whether this will go anywhere or if it will further divide the Democrats. We'll talk about it. Stay close.
Nearly every month that President Trump has served in office, Americans have witnessed some sort of violation of our values, our civil liberties, and access to opportunities, and he has broken the law.
A new showdown looming on Capitol Hill. Some House Democrats this morning launching a push to impeach President Trump, despite leaders in their own party saying they want to avoid going that route. The group accusing President Trump of violating the Constitution. Watch.
We are introducing articles of impeachment to remove President Trump from office. And given the magnitude of the constitutional crisis, there's no reason for delay.
There are many reasons why I think the president is an awful president, an awful person.
This president has committed misdeeds that merit impeachment.
The president, Donald Trump, is a threat to our national security.
But some top Democrats in recent weeks appearing concerned that such a fight may turn off voters and saying impeachment is not their focus. Watch this.
I am not talking about impeachment because I'm talking about good jobs for folks. I'm talking about health care for all. I'm talking about making sure that we're fighting for the issues that matter most.
Somebody has some facts that come forth about President Trump that let the chips fall where they may. But it's not someplace that I think we should go.
Not a priority for you?
No,
okay.
Our election is about meeting the needs of the American people.
So, Ben, obviously you've got Democrats there saying that President Trump, it's a constitutional crisis, but doesn't it also have a destabilizing effect to try to weaponize impeachment?
I mean, it has a destabilizing effect, I think, for Democrats more than it does for the country. I mean, the fact is that the Democrats at the top know that the worst thing that they can do right now is push impeachment preemptively before any crime has been committed, because nothing is going to rally Trump's base or alienate moderates, quite like a stupid impeachment hearing. By the same token, the idea that the Democrats have been pushing for since the election, which is that Donald Trump is a nut, that Donald Trump is a constitutional danger, that he's an incipient Hitler, well, that means that a lot of the Democratic base is saying, well, if all that's true, you need to get rid of him. Right? Do whatever you can to get rid of him now. So they have this split in their base that they can't exactly rectify. So it's weird to hear people like Nancy Pelosi and Tom Perez saying, well, that's not really a priority. Well, once you ratchet the urgency level up to 11, how is that not a priority?
Well, and to that point, Trish, obviously what Ben just said, and also what we saw with some of the members calling for impeachment, but leadership saying, whoa, whoa, whoa. What does this do for Democrats heading into 2018? How do they walk this line between their base and trying to charge them up, but also being worried about being viable in a general election?
Yeah, this is one where it can cut both ways, because in other words, you get a lot of Americans that say, gosh, they're nothing but obstructionists. And the Democratic Party, many members of it may feel as though their party has effectively not been able to do their job, because if they've been pushing this idea of impeachment but not actually doing stuff that's going to relate and matter to average Americans, then it's kind of a no-win. So I get why Nancy Pelosi is backing off this one. I get why Tom Perez is backing off this one. I don't think they gain anything. Nonetheless, as we talk about this splintered group, the Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, that wing of the party may want to continue pushing it, but it's going to make it more challenging for Democrats.
I attended an event this week, the Glamour Women of the Year Awards, and one of the recipients was Representative Maxine Waters, and she took her time on stage to say that she wanted to impeach the current president in part of her acceptance speech for her award. And I would just ask this question, and I mean, she legitimately has a lot of millennials who follow her and her party, the Democratic Party, but if you're home sitting and you're a voter, aren't you wondering just how long the Democrats are going to ignore the economic issues that really affect your dinner table?
Well, I mean, also, don't you have to ask why Maxine Waters, maybe the most corrupt congressperson in America, is the one pushing impeachment? I mean, she is deeply, deeply corrupt. If somebody should be impeached, it's Maxine Waters.
We'll just let that one sit.
Yeah. Wow.
I think you left the couch speechless. No, but I think when it comes to Democrats, like every day we have a soundbite like Chuck Schumer, and look, we're kind of all agreeing with Nancy Pelosi here, right? You got to pick your battles so we know when people know when to really listen. And perhaps that's to Nancy Pelosi's point. Like, let's
pick your battles and put the American people in the focus point here.
Well, exactly. But Ben, real quick,
what's the message?
What is the reality here, though? Let's say Democrats take back the House. Is this something you see them actually moving forward?
I mean, I think there will be a heavy push for impeachment from at least half of the Democrats in Congress. And I think that once that ball starts rolling, it's going to be very difficult to stop, because are you going to be the Democrat who wants to go on the record voting against impeachment of President Trump if someone actually brings that to the floor? So it's going to be a real sticking point for them. Again, they've gone over their skis when it comes to the radicalism of their calls about President Trump.
Well, brand new polling on President Trump's ongoing back and forth with the mainstream media will show you how America is reacting to the way the president is being treated. You don't want to miss it.
You cannot buy, no matter how much money you have, billions of dollars if you access it, you can't buy class. You can't teach that. That's something you cannot teach, and I think that is something that this president is jealous about.
More Outnumbered in just a moment, but first let's touch base with Harris on what's coming up on Outnumbered Overtime in just a few moments. Hey, Harris.
Hey, Sandra, thanks so much. So the man in charge of writing the House tax reform bill, Ways and Means Chairman Kevin Brady, will join me next hour. Will the House follow the Senate's lead and target the Obamacare mandate? How will that affect reaching a final deal? And after a marathon grilling of Attorney General Jeff Sessions yesterday, two of the congressmen who questioned him will join me as well, Republican Trent Franks and Democrat Eric Swalwell, on what's next for the Attorney General Sessions. That and more when we go overtime. OT, baby, top of the hour, Sandra.
We'll see you in a few minutes, Harris. Thanks.
All right.
This is what Joseph Stalin would do. This is what tyrants have done for years.
To me, just made this entire spectacle seem like a fake news conference.
We haven't had a president this psychologically troubled. I'm trying to use my language carefully. We haven't had a president this psychologically troubled in this way since at least Richard Nixon.
Nothing makes a man feel better than making a fake cover of a magazine about himself, lying every day and destroying the country.
Wow, that Stalin comparison was something, huh? Well, that was just some of the media's fierce criticism of President Trump, and now a new Quinnipiac poll shows Americans are not very happy with that coverage, not one bit happy about that coverage, while the poll found that a majority trust the media more than they trust President Trump. A larger majority, 58%, disapprove of the way the media has been covering the president, particularly its focus on negative stories about Mr. Trump. It's interesting. I think that people have kind of gotten their number. What do you think?
I think people are correct on both counts, actually. I think that they are right, that the media are completely unfair to President Trump, and they say things that are not true, and they spin narrative around a grain of truth, and the narrative itself won't be true. I think that President Trump's unfortunate tendency is to call things fake news that aren't actually fake news, and that throws it back in the court of the media. So I think both polls are true. I think people can say the media sucks at their job, and they can also say the media sucks at their job, and still President Trump doesn't tell us the truth enough. So I think that all of that can consistently be true. But I think that's part and parcel of the fact that Americans right now basically hate every institution. Like, if you look at polls about everything from the education system to the justice system to everything, Americans are really dissatisfied with all of the institutions which they feel have failed them on some elemental levels, and I think they're right.
Yeah, they're over it.
Yeah, and you have someone like John Dickerson, host of Face the Nation, who had said that the distrust in media is earned. You know, the media has earned the right for voters to distrust them. And I think look no further than the New York Times running an article about Senator Bob Menendez, who is literally on corruption trial right now without mentioning, I think it was a single time, that he was a Democrat. I mean, so if you want to look for media bias, look no further than that.
There's an endless history of this, too. I mean, if you look at the media today, there are a lot of articles in the last 2 days about, we got the Clintons wrong. Oh, we got Bill Clinton wrong. There was an article in Vox today.
Right.
Bill Clinton should have resigned in 1998. There was a New York Times op-ed yesterday about, we were wrong about Juanita Broderick.
But if anything comes of the way that the president has handled the media through all of this, is that they're not acting like they're not biased anymore, and they're really putting it out there more than they ever did before he was president.
That's certainly true, and I think that's where Trump has them on the ropes, is that they keep trying to maintain this patina of objectivity that does not exist. And it's so clear that it doesn't exist every single day. They'd be better off just saying, look, here's how I voted, I don't like President Trump, and now here's what I think of what he's doing.
And do you guys remember the ice cream story? There was like literally running a story about how many scoops of ice cream the president gets and other people not getting 2 scoops. It's like
fish food story in Asia, right?
Well, this
ice cream's delicious. I don't blame him.
What the poll also got at, Lisa, which is that 53% of Americans are saying that the media just focuses too much on negative stories. And so, I mean, to your point, it can be as simple as an ice cream cone. If it's a negative story about the president, they're in.
Well, and the president, he hits on this a lot when he tweets out about the economy. You're not going to hear this in the media. He often tweets about the unemployment rate being at a 17-year low, the stock market being at an all-time high. To be fair, you don't hear that a lot in the mainstream.
No, you don't, unless you watch Fox Business, because we